Hello friends, welcome to the learning platform Claim IELTS. Today we are back with the interesting topic of Aristotle, that is theory of constitutions. So before we start, let us have a look towards significance of Aristotle on the work of constitutions. So here friends, Aristotle has given theory of constitutions after studying 158 constitution. So basically here Aristotle have studied 158 constitutions, then only he gave the theory on constitutions. So here, the constitutions that Aristotle have studied is an important source to understand his classifications of constitutions. One can understand this fact based on two factors. So here, friends, Aristotle's theory of constitutions will really help us to understand the fact based on these two factors. The first one is the number of individual ruling the state. Here, whether it is one person's or the ruling state or a few individuals, it is a rule of many. So among these, anyone means who is ruling the country will understand who three are ruling the state. And also we will understand the intent of rulers, means what are the intentions that rulers has during his rule of the people. So here, whether the ruler is ruling for his states or for his self-interest, known as normal form of government, or whether the ruler is looking for his self-interest, that is known as perverted form of government or the corrupt form of government. So here, Aristotle have classified the constitutions or the government on the three bases. The first one is number of person involved there, or number of persons is working on the interest of normal people, or they're working in the interest of their own or for the self-interest. So the first one is king. So friends, the philosopher king is always single here. One is the only philosopher king ruling among the state. And the second one is few, means the rich peoples. The rich are always minority friends, but many means all the slaves, all the free men who got free from the masters, or basically the middle class peoples. So they are always in majority. These are in minority. And king or the kingship or the philosopher king remains the single in the whole state. So friends, when king work on the interest of people, it is known as monarchy. And when it got corrupted, it turns into tyranny, which is the worst form of government. And you will also understand briefly that why it is worst form of government, why it is not practical form of government. We'll all discuss this in briefly. And when the rule of rich means the rule of few works on the interest of people, it is known as aristocracy. And when it turns, means when it got perverted, it turns into oligarchy or it converts into oligarchy. So here basically rule of many or rule of middle class, or either it can be rule of poor, which is second worst. You will also know why I'm saying it is the second worst and why Aristotle is saying it is the second worst form of government. And now, friends, we will understand why monarchy is better when it works in the interest of people or for the interest of people. So here, friends, monarchy is good, but not in practical. Why? Because if it corrupts, it will pervert into tyranny. And here, if one person get corrupt, the whole system get corrupt and not good for the society. It is basically, I'm talking about tyranny. So when it got, see friends, when tyranny gets corrupt, it is neither good for its society. Why? Because, see friends, if a single person have whole power, if a single person have absolute power, there is highly probability that he or she may exploit the whole society. Why? Because he has the whole power with him. He can exploit the whole society. So it is the worst form of worst form of government in practical. But when it works for the welfare of people, it is good form of government, but not the best in practical form. And now if you look towards aristocracy, which is rule of few or few rich. Here, rule of rich is good because here few people rule and also they can contribute for the betterment of society. So rule of rich is good here. But if it pervert towards the oligarchy, it is not good for the society. So it is not good in the practical form, or it is not practicable. And here, rule of middle class, it is a better form of rule, which Aristotle says, and it is the second worst form of rule. So we will understand why it is known as second worst form of rule and why rule of middle class is known as better form of rule. But here, if we look at the best form of government, friends, the best form of constitutions or state is monarchy or the rule of kingship. As I have told here, friends, the best form of ruling is monarchy here. Monarchy here. So you can see here, it is the best form of ruling here, but it is not practicable. So as I have told friends, it is the best, but not the best practicable form of government. Because once the monarchy get perverted, it will turn into tyranny. And in practical form, tyranny is not at all good for society. Why? Because he has absolute power, and absolute powers always corrupt. Which is the best form? Here, polity is the best practical form. Why? Because rule of many, but not too many means which means it is the rule of middle class. So here friends, middle class are always self-sufficient. They are not too rich, they are not too poor, and they are not neither they are ignorant. So they are the best practicable form of government. But if we look towards democracy, see here friends, here, democracy, it is the second worst form of government. Why it is known as second worst form of government? Why? Because it is the rule of many ignorant people. Here, it results into more corruptions among leaders, which makes people fool and establish tyranny. Here, friends, basically, if you see in the elections, various politicians in their speech, they speak anti-rich. Why? Because here, poor will feel that he is the only person who can save us from the rich. He is the only person that can eliminate the richer class, and he can only form the equality among the society. So that's the reason here leaders they make fool for the uh, uh, words, and they use sugar coated words in order to attract them, in order to have more vote banks. And here friends, Aristotle says that tyranny is the worst form of government. Why? Because if one person get corrupt, the whole system will get corrupt and not good for the society. So tyranny is the worst form of government. And what is the second worst form of the government? Let's understand. So the second worst form of government is democracy. Why? Because most of the ignorants are present here. So that's the reason Aristotle considered as democracy the second worst form of the government. And now, friends, we will understand what is the best practicable form of government. Means which Aristotle considers as the best practicable form of government. So here, on the basis of observations and analysis of the constitution's various 158 constitutions, he suggests that polity is the best practicable form of government. And now we will understand why and how polity is best practicable form of government. So here friends, so as you can see here friends, polity is a golden mean of oligarchy and democracy, as it is situated between these two forms of classifications. Now I will show where it is situated. So here friends, if there is a rule of rich, then it is a aristocracy, as you can see here, aristocracy. And or if there is a rule of poor, then it is democracy, you can see here. So between these two, it lies polity. That is the only best form of government or best practicable form of government. So here, middle class is rule of rich, but not extremely rich. It is a rule of many, but not so many. So the rule of middle class is always better, and rule of middle class is the best practicable form of government. So that's the reason Aristotle considers middle class as the best practicable form of government. So here we complete our theory of constitutions. I hope it is clear, friends. So next, so stay continued. So next topic will be on theory of justice and revolution. It is the last topic of Aristotle's. So we are going to complete it soon. So if you like this platform, do subscribe, like, and share with your friends.